Hello, welcome to part 2 of the Gun Vise. Here we're doing our Steyr M95 Carbine. In the previous video I disassembled the whole thing. In this video I will be focusing on the wood parts, getting them cleaned up and prepped for refinishing. Now what I'm about to do might be controversial to some, but it's the best way I have found to do it, and it is to just give them a nice hot soapy water bath. I use just simple Dawn dish soap, not brass brushes, but a nice nylon brush to get in all the nooks and crannies. I try to avoid steel wool. I have heard before that using steel wool will deposit some into the stock, some steel into the stock, causing rust later on. I don't know how true that is, but the nylon brush does just as well. And a lot of times, hot soapy water and just using your fingers is more than enough to get it clean. So to start here, we'll get our water warmed up. Less is more. There's our so far finished product. Stocks are always a little bit harder. To begin with, before getting everything wet, just getting a dry brush and brushing out a lot of that dirt goes a long ways. Sometimes, if there's a lot of big crumbs in there, and you do get it wet too fast, you'll just work all that oil back into the wood. So just go over it lightly, your nylon brush. Once again, wet it down, soap it up, rinse it off, let it dry. Hopefully you can see that in the camera, but all that old oil and gunk is coming out of that wood. Taking a pause here, you can kind of see the line, how much it's lightened up already. And there you have it, a clean stock. Now, I will leave both of these to dry overnight. The handguard and the stock, leave them out to dry slowly. And we will come back and see how they turn out. And here we are, about 2 days later. It's been roughly 48 hours since I've last touched this. You can tell the stock is dried nicely. There's no residue or oil left over like there was before. You could rub your hand on it and your hand would just be covered in oil. The handguard has also come out nicely. Where the barrel band's set, of course it's going to be darker. That's where the metal was. Over here at my other table, got a hot plate, nice shallow dish, turn that about halfway up, pour just a little more than I'll probably need a BLO. We'll let that warm up and take it over the stock and see what it does. Now that our BLO is warmed up sufficiently, have in our pan, ready to go, I will I'll be wiping down the wood, setting it on this board with nails to dry out. In order to apply this, I'll just take some gloves and start with the hand guard. Take some of this out of the way. Put the BLO in my hand and just very, very gently and lightly start rubbing it into the wood. There you have it. I will let this sit for 30, maybe 45 minutes, maybe even an hour, and then I will go back over with a paper towel and wipe this down. Now really, the best way to give it a nice oil finish is to have a very hot summer day and set it outside when you're done. Look it over, make sure I didn't miss any big spots. Doesn't appear so. Rub it down, make sure I got it evenly. And that is good to set for probably a week. Like I said, I will check it here in maybe an hour or so. Rub off any excess with a paper towel. Make sure there's no big globs or anything sticking. But otherwise, maybe another coat. But if it stays anywhere near like this, I'd say it's good to go. So we'll check in about an hour. These have been setting for roughly 45 minutes now. I'm going to go ahead and wipe off the excess. Just take a paper towel, rub it down. And this paper towel, as you can see, is getting quite a bit off. Please excuse the dog in the background. Just wipe off anything that was left on the surface. This will give it a much more even coat. And there you have it. Now to let this set for about a week. If it warms up some, I may go set it outside in the sun. That'll help it dry much quicker. But there's everything. Came off of it, all that excess oil. That should have a nice even coat on it now. So now it's just a waiting game. Here we are, 24 hours later. About a day ago, I wiped down the excess linseed oil off the stalks and just let them set in my basement. Now there's a bit of a wet spot here on this one. They both soaked it up very nicely. The handguard darkened up more than the rest of the stock, but overall they both look great. There's no tacky spots. They are dry to the touch. As far as I'm concerned, these are ready to be put back on the gun. I don't think I will go over them with another coat. So that's it for this video. The stock is ready to go. Tune in next time and we'll get the metal parts prepped and ready for boiling. We can get this back together. Thank you for watching.